Before I begin, there's a giveaway in the link description for $30. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Third Wheel, Jeff Kinney. To Graham. January, Sunday. I wish I started keeping a journal a lot earlier on, because whoever ends up writing my biography is going to have a lot of questions about my life in the years leading up to middle school. Luckily, I remember just about everything that's happened to me since I was born. In fact, I can even remember stuff that happened to me before I was born. Back in those days, it was just me swimming around in the dark, doing backflips and taking naps whenever I wanted. Then one day when I was in the middle of a really good nap, I got woken up by these strange noises coming from the outside. At the time, I didn't know what the heck I was hearing, but later on I found out it was Mom piping in music through these speakers she put on her belly. I guess Mom thought that if she played classical music for me every day before I was born, it would turn me into some kind of genius. Those speakers came with a microphone, and when Mom wasn't playing music, she was telling me everything that was going on in her life. And then Mommy went to the store where she bought you an adorable blue hat with little ducklings on it. And when Dad came home from work, Mom would have him give me a blow-by-blow of his day. So then I told Bill. I did sign the bottom of the 1044, and I flipped the paper over so he could see for himself. But then that wasn't the end of it. Every night, Mom would read to me for a half hour before she went to bed. "Mr. Lipkins, I beg your pardon, sir. Oliver Twist has asked for more." The problem is my sleep schedule didn't line up with Mom's, so when she was sleeping, I'd be wide awake. Snore. Seriously? I actually wish I paid more attention when Mom was reading to me, though. Last week in school, we had a pop quiz on the book, and I hadn't read it yet. I was pretty sure Mom read that one to me before I was born, but I couldn't remember any of the details. 42. What does Oliver Twist ask for that gets him in trouble? Think. I guess that week Mom was reading that book, I was busy doing something else. I wonder where this thing goes. Yank, yank. The crazy thing is Mom didn't need to use a microphone for me to hear her. I mean, I was inside of her, so I could hear every word she said whether I wanted to or not. I crave pickles, but I can't eat them because they make me gassy. Do I really need to be hearing this? I could also hear just about everything that was happening on the outside. So when Mom and Dad got all mushy, I had to listen to that too. Pucker, smooch, ack. I've never really felt comfortable when people are acting affectionate around me, especially when it's my parents. I try to get them to stop, but they never got the message. Cut it out. Kick, kick, kick. In fact, every time I tried to, it just seemed to make things worse. Every time we kiss, I feel a little kick. Let's kiss again. After a few months of living like this, I had to get out of there, and that's why I was born 3 weeks early. But after being hit by the cold air and the blinding lights of the delivery room, I wish I just stayed put. It's a boy. Put me back. By the time I came into the world, I was totally sleep deprived and in a really lousy mood. So if you ever see a picture of a newborn, now you know why they always seem to look ticked off. Introducing our little bundle of joy, Gregory Heffley, 5 pounds, 7 ounces. In fact, I still haven't caught up to my sleep I missed, and believe me, I've been trying. You're late for school, yank, suck. Ever since I was born, I tried to recreate the feeling I had way back when I was floating around in the dark, happy as could be. But when you're living in a house with 4 other people, some fool is always going to come along and ruin things for you. Do you people mind? I met my older brother, Roderick, a few days after I was born. Up to that point, I thought I was an only child, so I was pretty disappointed to find out I wasn't. My family was living in a really small apartment back then, and I had to share a room with Roderick. He got the crib, so for the first few months of my life, I had to sleep in the top of the dresser drawer, which I'm pretty sure isn't even legal. Sleep tight. Eventually, Dad moved his work stuff out of the room he was using as an office and made it into a nursery. I got Roderick's old crib, and he got a new bed. Almost everything I had back in those days was a hand-me-down from Roderick. By the time something came to me, it was either worn out or covered in slobber. Even my password was handed me down from Roderick. I don't think he was ready to give it up, though, which might explain why he's never really liked me. You don't need this anymore. Flop. Here you go. Floop. It was just the four of us for a long time, and then one day Mom told me she was going to have another baby. I was glad she gave me the heads up so I could be ready. The upstairs bathroom is mine. When my little brother Manu came along, everybody thought he was so cute. But what they don't tell you about babies is that after they're born, they have this black stub on their belly button where the umbilical cord was tied off. Eventually, the stub dries off and falls off, and the baby has a regular-looking belly button. But the thing is, nobody ever found Manny's stub, and to this day, I'm still paranoid it's gonna show up somewhere. Stop picking at your food, poke poke. When I was a newborn, Mom put me in front of the TV for an hour a day to watch educational videos. Teeny genius. I don't know if those videos actually made me any smarter, but at least I was smart enough to figure out how to put on something I wanted to watch. Whoosh. Click. I also figured out how to remove the batteries from the remote so no one could turn the educational videos back on. Why isn't this working? Click, click, click. But when you're a baby, you can't really get around a lot, so the only place I could hide the batteries. How did these get in here again? Shoot. I think Mom should have let me crawl around on the floor more when I was little because I was way behind the other kids in my playgroup when it came to some physical stuff. While the others were sitting up and couch surfing, I was still working on lifting my head off the ground. Almost there. Then one day, Mom bought me this thing called Baby Adventures Action Walker, which is the first thing I ever got that Roger didn't have before me. The Action Walker was awesome. It had a million little gadgets you could entertain yourself with, plus a cup holder. But the best thing about it was I could actually get anywhere I need to go without actually having to walk. I could tell that when I was in my Baby Adventures Action Walker, all my little playgroup friends felt like chums. Sit. But then Mom read in some parenting magazine that it wasn't a good idea to use baby walkers because kids won't develop the right muscles to walk on their own. So Mom returned the Action Walker to the store, and I was back to square one. A little help? It took a long time, but eventually I did learn to walk, and before I knew it, I was in preschool. I was hoping I'd had a head start over the other kids because of all the work Mom had put in with the classical music and the educational DVs, but the other moms must have done that stuff too because the competition in preschool was pretty stiff. I mean, you had kids in there who knew how to use buttons and zippers when I could barely figure out how to pull off my mittens without help from a grown-up. A few of my classmates could write their own names, and one or two could count all the way to 50. I knew I couldn't keep up, so I decided to try and slow everyone down by feeding them bad information. Circle. My plan kind of backfired though, and my preschool teacher told Mom I wasn't learning my colors and shapes like the other kids. But Mom said I was smart and that maybe the problem was I wasn't being challenged enough. So Mom actually took me out of preschool and had me skip a grade to kindergarten. But that decision was a total disaster. The kids in kindergarten seemed like giants to me, and they knew how to do stuff like cut with scissors and color inside the lines. I didn't even make a whole day in kindergarten before my teacher had to call Mom to come and get me. The next day, Mom brought me back to preschool and asked my teacher if I had my cubby back. I just hope your academic record doesn't follow you around because it might be tough for me to get a good job later on if people found out I was a kindergarten dropout. Monday. I'm pretty sure Mom decided that whatever she tried with me when I was little didn't work out because she's taking a totally different approach with Manny. For starters, Mom pretty much lets Manny watch wherever he wants on TV, so he keeps it on this show called The Snurbles 24 hours a day. Grumble blop bop, pop bop, yup. I've tried to watch The Snurbles a few times, but I have no idea what was going on. The Snurbles have their own language that I guess only 3-year-olds can understand. Lincoln borp, yorp. After Manny watches the show, he gets frustrated when no one in our family can understand him. Slinky, slop. But the other day, Mom read an article in the newspaper that said watching the Snurbles actually sets kids back about a year with their language development and messes up with their social skills too. Well, that explains a lot. Manny doesn't have any real friends, and whenever Mom holds a playgroup at our house, Manny is the only one who doesn't interact with the other kids. I think part of the issue is that Manny doesn't like to share his toys. So when the kids come over, Manny just locks himself inside her old dog Sweetie's exercise pen and keeps all the toys to himself. And whenever Mom tries to get Manny to play with the other kids on his own, it backfires. At her church, they have this new thing where they send all the little kids down to the basement during the service so they can play in color. But the first time Mom dropped Manny off downstairs, there was only one other kid in the play area, and he told Manny he was a vampire. Hiss! Scream! I felt a little bad for Manny because I had to deal with that scary kid when I was his age too. I was in preschool with this boy named Bradley who terrorized me every chance he got. Rawr! Scream!